Alicia, hi. Thank you very much for joining TalkSport and the Kickback today. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you, and thank you for spending the time talking to me.
No problem. We saw a couple days ago pictures of a new livery that you've got for the Canadian Grand Prix at the weekend. I personally am a bit obsessed with it. I love bright colours, but tell me a little bit about like the messaging behind it, what it represents.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm really glad you like it, firstly. I'm a huge fan too. It's absolutely incredible. I think in general, it's amazing to see the support of Red Bull and One Password in designing a bespoke livery specifically for F1 Academy, because that's the first time this has happened. And I think it really shows their commitment and belief behind F1 Academy as a series and also behind females in motorsport. I think the livery, it's a celebration of female excellence and talent within sports design and technology. It was designed by an up and coming female Canadian artist called Kirsten McCrea. So she's done a fabulous job. It's the design itself. It's really bold, got really bright, as you mentioned, bright, vibrant colours, which I love. And I hope it gives me an extra few tenths this weekend. Hopefully, it'll make me a bit faster.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. Tell me a bit about Kirsten then. How did you kind of come across her and pick her for the design?
Yeah, well, it was actually One Password who found Kirsten and selected her to do to do the design. She's done an amazing job. I saw all her artwork ahead of seeing the actual livery, and I just knew it would be fantastic. So, it's great, obviously, to have a female designing the car, and also Canadian as well. It obviously makes it very location specific to this weekend. So, I'm just really privileged that I'm the one who gets to go behind the steering wheel and drive the car. So, yeah, super excited and grateful to everybody who's made this happen.
And you mentioned that obviously it's great to have a woman design it, and you mentioned about kind of encouraging more women into sport and design and tech. And I actually spoke to you at the premiere of F1 Academy, and something that kind of stuck with me was that we spoke about it's not just kind of encouraging more girls to get into motorsport in the driving capacity, but actually there's so many more roles that women and girls can be involved in motorsport. How important is it for you to encourage more girls to get involved in all aspects of racing?
It's really important, and you've summarised it perfectly there. I'd say what F1 Academy is doing, it's obviously inspiring the next generation, hopefully, so that when young girls turn on the TV, they see not only the 18 young females racing cars around the globe as a support series to F1, but they also see the number of female engineers, the number of female mechanics, the amount of females in the media, because I think that's something that's really evident within F1 Academy. You know, you walk into the support paddock and you can immediately notice the female presence, which is fantastic. And I think my wish for the series is just that, and the next Netflix series as well. You mentioned we were at the premiere. I hope that really shows to the next generation the amount of opportunities that there are within the sport to get involved in any aspect that they wish. So, yeah, and I think I can already see increases in numbers on not only the driving front of female participation, but also in engineering, in STEM, in the media. There's so many chances, and I think F1 Academy is definitely working.
Yeah, and I do think a big part of it is that you've got to see it to believe it, and be able to see kind of yourself represented in the people that you see working in certain industries, and I can kind of relate to that from like a sports media standpoint. But it is also important, I think, to kind of highlight that there are roles behind the scenes. Like in my role, there's so many like tech people that support us, or like studio operators and directors and technical directors and everything. And there's so many more roles than just like the people that you see on the screen.
100%. I mean, motorsport is it's a huge team sport as well, which I know is often underestimated. And there's hundreds of people involved in every F1 team, every support series team. And the amount of opportunities that there are behind the scenes that people won't realise is huge. I think if I could change one thing about motorsport, it would be at the end of a race, if say I won a race or I was on the podium, it's me as the driver who takes a lot of the attention, has a lot of the limelight, is put in the spotlight. Whereas actually, there's a whole group of people behind the scenes that you never really see from the outwards perspective, watching on TV, for example, who have worked so incredibly hard to get me in a position where I'm able to have success and able to win. So it really is a team sport. There's loads of opportunities, and I would really urge and encourage females to explore all these different paths that they could get involved in the sport.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And obviously we met at the premiere of F1 The Academy, and you weren't involved in the filming of the series, but have you had sort of any gauge on like how it's been received?
be honest, I've heard nothing but positive feedback, to be honest, in general, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we all wanted to hear. Me personally, I binge watched the series straight away in like one day, straight out. I obviously didn't feature, but I'm a huge fan. I think something that it really showed to me and it came across really clearly was it showed so many different characters behind the drivers. And I think it shows that there's not one um type of person that can have success in motorsport, for example. There's all the different drivers in the series. It shows how they have different family support. They have come from different backgrounds, different countries. They've got different experience levels, but there's no reason why all of them can't succeed. So I think that should also inspire young females to realise that there isn't a tick box of what a driver should have or how he should act or where you should come from. You know, anybody can succeed if you're willing to put the hard work in behind the scenes and you're determined for it. And I think the series really does show that. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it, and I'm really glad that it's been received well.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and being able to see those personalities that you might not be able to see, whilst they're racing around a track, you don't get to really know people, do you? But it's really important to kind of, yeah, see those personalities, learn a bit about their journey, and see that, like you said, if you put your mind to it, you really can do anything.
Absolutely, 100%. I think there might be a stereotype of young girls, what they might think of how they need to act, or they need to have a certain level of experience behind them, or funding, or when that definitely isn't the case. I think it all comes down to the individual person, how much hard work you're willing to put in behind the scenes. You know, motorsport's full of highs and lows. The highs are extremely high, the lows are extremely low. But if you're willing to persevere and never give up, then there's no reason why anybody can't succeed within the sport, really. So, yeah, I'm really glad that the series, I think, shows that.
And F1 Academy is obviously kind of designed to give women and girls kind of a path to F1, to race in F1. And I read a stat the other day that 80% of fans believe that we'll see a woman driving in F1 in the next 10 years, within the next 10 years. How likely do you think that is, and how much do you think series like this and kind of initiatives like your bespoke livery and things have an impact on making sure that that is a reality?
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Did you say 80%?
Yeah,
That's loads.
80%.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. I didn't know that actually. I think it's definitely a case of when, not if. I think that we'll see a female in Formula One. But equally, I think it's important to say that F1 Academy isn't a free ticket and it isn't a series to parachute females through to Formula One. That's not what the series is here for. It's simply a stepping stone on our journey to Formula One, hopefully, for us to showcase what we can do on the global stage, work with F1 teams, see how they operate within the pinnacle of the sport in order to develop ourselves as drivers, and then hopefully have success in the series, and then off our own talent and merit, rise up the single seater ladder, hopefully to F3, F2, and then F1 would be the dream, which I absolutely believe can happen. I think Susie Wolff, the managing director, she was the most recent female to compete in an FP1 session. So she's competed she's driven modern day F1 cars, and she says from a physical standpoint it's absolutely doable. So she's a great role model, I think, to all of us, to show that we really absolutely can do it. So if it could be me, that'd be amazing, but equally I'd just love to see it happen. So hopefully sooner rather than later.
And you mentioned Susie there and her being a role model to you guys to look up to hopefully one day kind of reach F1. But you are a role model as well to kind of young girls watching these races. How does that kind of sit with you? Is that like pressure? Is it a privilege? Like how do you view it?
It's a huge privilege, to be honest. It feels a bit crazy, to be honest, because I've only sort of been in this world for the last 6 7 months, and the amount of young girls that have come up to me in the paddocks, the amount of messages I've had from social media, it's incredible, to be honest. So to be a role model for these young girls, hopefully inspire them to get involved, realize that they can do it. There's no reason why we can't compete equally to males, I think is an incredible feeling for me. And F1 Academy, I think, serves a multi-purpose because it gives me a chance to be a role model and inspire the next generation. But equally, it's a great chance for me to develop my own career and learn and try to progress up the ranks. So it's amazing series to be a part of, and I'm incredibly sort of grateful to the Red Bull Racing Pepe Jeans Academy program as well in all of their support. This all really is a dream come true.
And you mentioned kind of that everyone in the series has kind of a different journey into F1 and racing. What was your journey? What kind of started it all for you?
Yeah, well, my journey is a little bit strange, really, I suppose. I always say I'm just the most normal girl. I've come from a normal family from Manchester in the UK. My great granddad was a brisk F1 stock car racing driver. So I sort of feel like I've always had motorsport in my blood. I've always grown up with the influence of motorsport around me. I never met my great granddad because he passed away before I was born. But my dad and granddad, they've always just loved motorsport, always watched it on TV. I've always just loved the vibe behind it. But it was just by chance. It was the 6 week holidays from school. I was staying up with my grandparents in Newcastle, and they just thought it was a fun activity to do. They'd take me go-karting just to my local indoor track, 30-mile-an-hour go-karts. And I just got hooked instantly. I just got hooked to the feeling of adrenaline, the speed, the sense of freedom as well that you get from driving a car or a kart. And that's where it really stemmed from for me. And then it was very much a hobby then. It's transitioned into a lifestyle now, but went back weekend after weekend, progressed up through the ranks, bought my own go-kart, raced in a national series, had lots of success. So yeah, it's 10 years now. It's my 10th year in motorsport, which is crazy to say. It really has been my whole life. But to be where I am now is a dream come true.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. And we'll see the new livery in action at the weekend, the Canadian Grand Prix. How are you feeling going into it?
Yeah, really, really excited for this weekend. I think it brings a new dynamic to the series this weekend because it's a new circuit. So not only for the drivers, but for the teams as well. There's been no prior testing here. It wasn't on the calendar last year, so nobody really knows what to expect. We've all done hundreds of laps on the simulators in preparation, but we never really know each other's strengths or weaknesses. For example, car setup is a big question mark as well. And we only have one free practice session before we go into qualifying. So it'll be a big challenge, but I'm excited because I think it's the first round we're entering this year where every driver is completely at an equal footing. So I think it's a real opportunity for us. 3 races as well this weekend, so great opportunity to score some great points. So I'm excited to get it all underway.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see how you get on, and I can't wait to see just that blur of colour going around the track as well. I'll definitely know which one is you. But Alicia, thank you so much for speaking to me today, and good luck for the weekend as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.